Joining me now is Robert Quartermain. He's the co-chair of Dakota Gold. Great to see you, Robert.
Great to be here.
So the company is focusing on revitalizing the historic Homestake district in South Dakota. So give us the broad strokes of that, if you could.
Right. The Homestake district is one of the world's largest and oldest gold districts. Over 40 million ounces of gold has been mined there since the 1870s. It was a very high-grade underground gold mine. Homestake chose to shut the mine down basically in 1996, although it finally closed in 2001. And they haven't done any regional exploration there since that point in time. Of course, they shut the mine down when gold was $300 an ounce, was a aspect of that. Their cutoff grade at that time was about 0.2 ounces or 7 grams. So a few years ago, myself and John Odd were shown a cross-section of Jerry Aberley, who had Dakota territories at the time, showing the old Homestake mine, but ground that he'd acquired strike of it along the next 3 or 4 kilometers along strike, or 3 miles along strike, where there were a few old drill holes in it which would have currently economic mineralization, but had been never followed up. And so as a result of that, over a 2-year period, we went in, purchased land, stake land, have now acquired over 45,000 acres. We have about 14,000 acres of private land, which certainly helps us with permitting. And we did 3 deals with Barrick in the district as well. So we've now been able to consolidate the district and be able to explore with modern techniques with the current high gold price.
Now, you have been discovering new zones. I see the company put out a news release recently about a discovery at the Maitland project. So how would you characterize so far the drilling results?
The drilling results have been very positive for the company. 2 things. We were looking for Homestake mineralization. We're fortunate working for us. We have 3 individuals. Our Chief Exploration Officer is James Berry. Our Chief Operating Officer is Jerry Aberley. And we also have Mike Terry. They all worked at the old mine before it shut down, so they know the district well. So the announcement of the JB zone, which we put out last week, is Homestake formation that we found more than 3 miles from the old mine, with high-grade mineralization running about 0.36 ounces per ton over 15 feet in a wider zone. So proof of concept. And this is tertiary mineralization, or much younger mineralization than in, say, billion-year-old Homestake formation. And it's linear. And so we now have 2 opportunities for every drill hole we put in to hit both potential tertiary mineralization as well as the Homestake mineralization, which is what we first went to target.
So just back to the Barrick agreement that you touched on there, can you give us sort of a brief overview of what you're doing there with Barrick and why? I guess, I mean, obviously they own a big chunk of the area there.
Correct. So when Barrick took over Homestake back in the early 2000s, the Homestake mine went right into its closure group. So there's been no systematic exploration done there since the work that we're currently doing now. So as a result, Barrick was the landowner. We went and actually purchased the Maitland property from them. So we own that 100%. We gave them some shares and they have some royalty interest, which made them a shareholder in the company. We then have 2 options with Barrick. One is on the surface rights over the old Homestake mine itself. And the purpose for that is, should we be successful in the work that we're getting, continue to evolve the drilling we have, then we would have access to surface that we could repurpose for a new mining development. And that's important from the fact that some of the permits are already in place for it. So that's the first transaction and second transaction. And then we took an option on the Richmond Hill mine, which is located a few miles north of the Wharf mine that Core operates. It's much lower grade and a different style of mineralization. And we have an option on it as well. So people investing in us basically have 3 options with the Richmond Hill and then the 2 opportunities we have at Maitland property.
Now, Robert, you've said that Dakota has access to literally 140 years of historical data from Barrick, which is incredible to even just say and to think about. And I think it's always interesting to discover how companies, now Dakota in particular, is using data like that, bringing in modern techniques and then defining drill targets.
It's a long process, as you say, when you take 125 years of historical mine data and also all the data from the regional work that Barrick did, it allows us to look at it in a new light. And what's important, as I say, when they stopped drilling and stopped working, gold was $300 an ounce. With gold at $2,000 an ounce, of course, your cutoff grades go way down. So we can look at this with a new lens, as well as these new technologies, particularly computer technologies, which allow us to look at data quite quickly, and that helps inform our drilling. So someone like Mike Terry and James Berry can look at the old data, incorporate our new data into it, and that can help us vector as we look for more Homestake formation.
Gold is near an all-time high, as you know. A lot of the companies within the sector are doing quite well. What's the key to getting the message out about Dakota Gold to the investment community for investors who have a lot of choices?
Right. So we only listed on the New York Stock Exchange just about a year ago in April here. So it's a new story. And this is important for us to be able to get out the news about this new work that's going on, the new discoveries that we're having in an old district. You know, and the analogy that I grew up with in this business is the best place to look for a mine is in the shadows of a head frame of an existing mine. There's many head frames around the Homestake district, and we're drilling there, and we're going to be hopeful we're going to find more. And as we do, we'll continue to evolve this story for our shareholders.
Lastly, management has a lot of skin in the game in terms of share ownership. You've got a lot of funds in there that people would know, Van Eck and others. I think CI's in there, Barrick holds a stake. So overall, and you've been touching on a lot of the reasons why, but what's the overall value proposition for Dakota?
I think, as you point out, management owns and the board of directors own almost 30% of the company. So we're owner-operators. I own about 10% of the company. Personally, I've had success in the past with Silver Standard and with Pretium, and this is an area I've decided to focus because it's where my competencies lie. It's being able to look at data and determine how you're going to find new mineralization within it. So it's a made-for exploration program in an historic area, so a great gold endowment, management who are well-funded, management who are focused on delivering value for shareholders. And as you say, it's about getting that story out for a U.S.-listed gold company here in the United States.
And investors, of course, love it when people like yourself have had previous successes, and so that's a natural draw. So thanks for the insight into Dakota Gold.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, Robert. Robert Quartermain, co-chair of Dakota Gold.